My name's Duncan Smith, and I'm a trainee key worker to vulnerable adults is my job title. And I work here at the Freedom Project, which comes under the umbrella of Summit House Support, trying to help people develop a recovery lifestyle, moving out of drink and drug addiction. I grew up in Evesham in the West Midlands, and my story is different to some. I don't come from a broken family, or there's no major things that flag up as that could be seen as triggers to my life getting chaotic. I'm sort of one of five children. Mum and dad still married. I mean, they went through troubles and different stuff. I think the only thing that stands out for me is that I was provided for, but not given much love and attention, sort of physically or emotionally. So that kind of I sort of grew up isolated and I suppose I felt different really in that sense. I saw friends of mine sort of calming down, sort of getting living together and getting jobs, and I thought, wow, is that it in life, to get wife, kids, a house with a nice painted picket fence and a reasonable car in front of the drive? And I thought, that's not going to satisfy me or fulfill me. What's the purpose of life? And really, so I kind of lived outside the culture a bit, really, in the sort of subculture of that drinking and drug taking, and I managed to somehow make it to college. I was never really there. I was kind of always down the pub, and for me, I found myself living in California at the age of 18 because I met an American girl that asked me to come over, and that planted a seed in me of travelling, and that became a sort of pattern for me. I came back to the UK not knowing what I was doing different sorts of work. Lived in Greece for a while. Went to college. And with that, I nearly finished the college to become a radio officer in the Merchant Navy, but didn't quite finish it because of my sort of lifestyle. And then moved down to London working as an BT engineer. My girlfriend was a teacher, but again, no fulfilment. So we ended up leaving our job, saving up some money, and going travelling the world, and did that for a couple of years. And out of that developed an import wholesale business, which became successful. And I thought I found the answer to all my questions. I wasn't controlled by it. I have a lot of control issues of authority, etc. So I thought I was kind of within my own lifestyle, and no boundaries around me really. But the drinking and drug taking was becoming more and more excessive. I went through the whole spectrum of drugs, and we tried different drugs in different countries, and also looking for answers to life. So sort of spiritually searching in Buddhism and in all sorts of different things. That was mixed with the sort of the type of drugs I was taking, etc. And to cut a long story short, it got all out of hand, and I fell into complete alcoholic addiction when I left my long-term partner for someone else, because I was always wasn't even wanting. I think it was wanting to be loved or something. But when I had the only stability was in my because I've become nomadic by then, was in my business and in my relationship. When I lost that, I kind of completely fell apart. And then life was, this was when I was 33, no, 32 maybe, and life became a series of NHS detoxes, of which I wouldn't even try to stop. I didn't even want to stop drinking. I just wanted to die, is the truth, and came close to that a few times. And there was about 3 or 4 of those sort of detoxes and psychiatric wards, and I'm like, suddenly from having a life that had a purpose and you know, world travel, etc., I was just dying and saw no way out. I ended up going to a therapeutic community that really didn't work on the address the issues behind addiction and all the brokenness, but it kind of kept me alive really. And I was in that pattern and that cycle for a whole number of years, and even though I'd stay somewhere for a long time doing a lot of good work helping people, I never worked on myself. To fast forward to a year and a half ago, again after leaving somewhere after a number of years and even opening centres in other countries helping people, I'd left, and that pattern repeated itself because I'd never broken that cycle. And then thankfully I came across the sort of the recovery agenda that was through mutual aid support of NA, and I heard about supported housing, and the structure was that was you have to go to meetings, and through that avenue around me I've gained a support network of people who are on a similar journey, who understand, and all my company now is of people who don't drink or use drugs, and it's somehow I find my life is transformed. and also for me, helping people is a massive part of my own recovery journey. So with the work I do now, it really, I mean, even day to day, actually, the stuff I do around relapse prevention, around different things, that kind of works itself into me. Because life still, it's not like a magic wand. It's not like I'm now a whole person. I still have a lot of issues, insecurities, which even are coming up at the moment. But because now of the stuff I've learned and the support of the people I have around me, life's different. The question was asked of me, what took me to that point of after many years of drinking and taking drugs and kind of being successful or degrees of success, making me now at a situation where I've stopped and I'm going to stay stopped. And the truth of the matter is, if my life had carried on, and I could have carried on sort of functioning with the lifestyle of drink and drugs, I would have continued on. But I reached a point in life where I did fall off a cliff. I mean, I haven't mentioned this yet, but this was never really diagnosed, but I went through kind of emotional nervous breakdown. I'm pretty sure that mixed at the moment at the time when my relationship broke up in my business and all my stability, and that combined with numbing that pain with predominantly alcohol, which is my kind of primary substance addiction. I have many other ones, but that's the primary one. I fell off a cliff, and once you've fallen off that cliff, you're off that cliff. So now, and the numerous times since then when I've picked up, there was a pattern. It takes me normally 5 months before I end up back in rehab. There's some functioning time, and then it becomes more and more unfunctional to the state of. So last time I was carried in, couldn't walk, couldn't talk. And it's not just the physical and suffering of addiction and withdrawal, but it's the emotional anguish and torment. It's the truth of it. People's view of addiction, they either think of someone injecting and that kind of in a complete mess, or someone on a park bench with a bottle of Frosty Jack cider, but it comes in many degrees and many different levels and progresses often gently and slowly and unnoticed. All through I look back on my years and think, well, I don't know, what could I have done if I hadn't have chosen the lifestyle and route that I did, with that kind of steadily increasing, creeping sort of illness or disease, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure how I classify it, but I know that it's something that slowly gripped, consumed, and nearly destroyed me. And the difference is now I have the tools and the support to be able to not pick up drink and drugs again. But I know if I do, that the chaos that would ensue would consume me. And at this point in my life, I'd probably just give up, really, to be honest. And advice I give to anyone is don't let it get to this point, because when you've got to this point, it's you at this point. So, I mean, I see it as where I'm at today. I could almost describe it as a terrible privilege that I have,